welcome back from the lunch break. Council, if we're ready to continue, let's proceed. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Can you please kindly position the witness on the mic? Welcome back, Madam Witness. Just before the break, you told us how you got admitted into the presidential alternative treatment. You told us that you believed that the president could cure HIV when you admitted yourself in the treatment. President onying asinyin kura onying asa jara no wala asabu inara na ifam dabulandi akonyin kono. You told us that you were not briefed in any way about how the treatment is to be carried out. Andu ye infanam fonye ko imanne kachandi follow janni be dunna programme kono wala jara lo nyin silo nyin abita silo menna imo fo janni be dunna je. And you were not told that you will appear on TV. Andu imanyi infanam fo ko ebe findi la television otole. You told us that by showing you on TV, they violated your rights. You've also explained to us how you felt when you drank the medication. And the people around you as well. So we'd like to move on with your evidence. You told us that you usually go to Kanilai as well. Can you tell us what you will do at Kanilai when they take you there?
Dara Kanilai fananka minke kanim fin kata stay house kaboro le mi.
What we usually do at Kanilai is when we leave Kanifing and go to State House, it's the same thing when we go to Kanilai. And sometimes we do some other walks. We have to walk sometimes at Kanilai.
What kind of walk do you do at Kanilai?
After drinking the medicine, sometimes we will go and pick cashew nuts.
After drinking the medicine, how would you feel?
After drinking this medicine, sometimes your whole body becomes mixed up.
Was it in that state that you had to go pick up cashew nuts?
Yes. Yes, after drinking the medicine, we go and pick cashew nuts.
Did you feel that you had a choice not to go pick cashew nut, given that you were not feeling very well and your body was weak?
Ita bala nola katu kani ita la tirpo be korata ye filibun kono ita ninjama be taraja albe katala ya domando.
Well, you cannot refuse because when this thing is suggested, the whole group leaves to go, and you alone cannot remain back at home. So this is why we all have to leave and go and try to do what we can do.
In whose plantation do you usually go pick these cashew nuts?
We go to Yaya Jame's cashew farms to pick these cashew nuts.
Was Yaya Jame aware that you were being made to pick these cashew nuts from his farm?
Yaya Jame, I kalamuta la banko ye kalsamba la cashew feo to la bankata cashew tombo la ba.
Kalamuta la kat weekend na bere kata.
Yes, he's aware because every weekend we used to go with him.
How did you feel about being made to pick these cashew nuts in a very weak state? ite oje nyaadi le ke samba ke de som tomborindi kasuola o alhaalo kono ibe nyamen
Perati ye ni ba kuwa min kono ye jamin kono doron we tama wusilo.
There's no way to way. You have no choice. If you find yourself in certain situations, there's nothing you can do about it. You have to follow.
Apart from picking cashew nuts at Yaya Jammeh's farm, were you made to do anything else?
ninga borra kata kasu tombo la ya jamela kasu feoto fo ikesa mba kudo fana na laban kata laban
Utomon kola foninga suto ni la talam fula ile wuli aya faleta dongal.
Well, apart from picking cashew nuts, sometimes around 2 a.m. at night, they wake you up and tell you to go and start dancing.
Dancing, you said. Did I hear you clearly?
ibe dumuna dongo bang fo nge moy kule ban ibe muna dongo
Dongo yano imano luobe lori ibe don.
Yes, dancing. Whether you can dance or not, there is everybody at the ground, so you have to dance.
And why would you be asked to dance?
ya sa we be kanina nyina ka fo ita dongo la
Ate ayo wala kolon jata kende.
That's how he saw it. He thinks that's what makes people healthy.
So you were dancing to keep yourselves healthy.
amunda ike don ne pour ye fan na jata pour ye tara bambanding
Puri jato sa kende.
Yes, so that you can be healthy.
At 2 a.m. in the morning.
lam fula sudo
Abema, ko fotelam fula suto bang.
Dobi yang kawul talam fula suto ngatara je fo suto talang nad ngasena.
Sometimes we will go at 2 a.m. and be there until 4 a.m. and we come back home.
And while you're dancing, what will who will be around when you're dancing?
mala katara mabirinje ni albe ibe dongo la mala katara je ni ite mari ibe dongo la
Jalo le katara.
Well, you have drummers there.
Was Yaya Jammeh ever present when you were dancing?
ya jamme afon kunno katara mabirinde ban ni nalbe dongo la ba ni be dongo la ba
Weekend.
At the weekends.
Yes.
ko ha
Weekend na tar katanyo.
Every weekend we used to go with him.
And you said they usually ask you to go out and dance.
andi ko idal tele kal findindi ka faleta aleta dongo la
That is why I asked if Yaya Jammeh was present when you were asked to dance.
ko wala sabo e nyinin ka fo ya jamme katara mabirinje la ba ni ba fala aliye dong
Afan katara mabere luot.
ha fa fon katara mabirin luwo nyinto ye
Ko abe tara dulato anya ben na bara fon katara wot.
Well,
Mando biye ni festival da katara sirinje.
well, during festivals, he will be sitting there and in attendance. But during these dances, he will not be there in person, but sometimes he sits at a place where he can look from.
Was this dancing, in fact, as a form of amusement?
ko fo nyin dongo nyin fa ka nyala me alon ka ke music mulungol ti bang
Oh, ke don no.
Just dancing, just to dance.
How did you feel about this process, being made to dance?
ite ya ko nyi ya ite aje nyaadi le pour ke sifitinde ke samba dongo la
Ndol wode nga ko je nyaminde. Ni e dom fay balo bele kamama.
Well, as for us, how we saw this dancing, after dancing, sometimes we feel it on our bodies. Your whole body will be mixed up.
You told us the kind of medicines that were given to you.
andu ye infana fonye ko man dono ko ka bori sifal men di alla
Apart from Yaya Jammeh, did anyone else administer these medications to you?
dinga bora ya jame fon kundingo la fo do mo ko ten do katara jeleba men kay tambi nyin ko nyin nyawto kay boro di ba
Ani?
No.
Boro sifa ngami mindoro nka kontine nka ulemi.
The type of medicine. The type of medicine they have there is the only type we drink.
During the time when you were at this alternative treatment, how did you feel about the treatment?
Well, initially we thought that we will be cured, we will be able to have our cells. But later on, we discovered that it is the opposite. We found ourselves in a dilemma.
She said, if I'm to interpret it correctly, she said we had a lot of difficulties there.
Yes.
Can you please tell us some of these difficulties?
When you say that you are going to be cured, you go to somewhere for treatment to be cured, and then you later discover that the whole world is looking at you, then that's the hardship I'm talking about.
What other hardship, apart from being publicly shown on TV, what other hardship did you encounter during the course of this treatment?
Ninga bota o alhala sifala porque findini television dunia be nyaaje. Ya munkole ya kusifa dole takije ko take.
Amanda wala hanin tolbe domor wala. Tele katarankan dunia be ka je kombe domor.
That's not the only difficulty. Even if we are eating, sometimes they'll bring cameras and the whole world will see us eating.
Did you continue taking the medications that you got from the hospital when you started the president's treatment?
Oh, ye borol nyimmen soro loptano nyindo. Fo inara la tenten ka o borol nyimmin hani fo kabri dunda president wala jaral programme nyingono fo itenten de ka lo borol min ka yemen soro loptano roba.
Ndama na kondine loptan borol la president wala borol doron ka wolemi.
I stopped drinking the medicines from the hospital. I only drink the medicine from the presidential treatment.
Why did you stop drinking the medicines from the hospital?
Mona ya sabu imantendeno ka boro nying mengbora loptano.
Ala boro ni loptan boro bukata.
Well, his medicine doesn't go along with medicine from the hospital.
So you were only drinking the herbal medicines given to you by the president throughout the duration of your period at the treatment?
Amunta nyinko ibe boro nyi memminga wala mu ay boro men dila ala jaralo nyi wito nyi be kono ikate la boro min.
Ankate la boro dama.
Yes, we only drink the medicine that he provides us.
Apart from the TV being shown on TV while the treatment is administered on you and other people, was there any point where you were shown on TV not taking the medication?
Ko ninga bota ke findini television ro wato mena jaralo be caring fo wati soto ndala kota ke bangi ke findini television ro hanne arra wato mena mantra jaralo nyin takan.
Awado e kam findini ni festival obina asila.
Yes.
I endeke advertise. Then Magdo bije, Kedo bije, Modu so, or Fanam bije, kanke advertise.
Akalike advertise. Well, sometimes it looks like a sort of advertisement, like where there are people like Modu so. You can,
sorry, Madam Witness. Just avoid, like we discussed earlier, just avoid mentioning the names of the people that were in the program. Just mention the names of the people that were not in the program, okay?
Comme ako komando ina ya kacha nyame janni albina jang mol to for men alon ko te programme nyin kono bare momo yalon ko be programme nyin kono kana to fo kana to lankene ma ya moy.
You mentioned Nana McDolgay. What was she doing during that time with you people?
Nana McDolgay to fo atatarta no munala wato men na nalbe nyokanje.
Wato mimbe kanila wato la ka interview wonya.
The time we were at Kanilai, that's the time when we were interviewed.
What was the purpose of that interview?
O interview ni woni karol ni jabiro ni ala nafa munati adali lo munati
Kanyi nga fu boro mi kamin fo yenna fa so jen ko ha ay na fa kel kandu na janta ken ya so to jen saim be mina fola.
Yes.
Boro bete ata bakele.
During the interview, they usually ask us, the medicines that you are drinking, is it beneficial to you? Are you feeling okay? We have no choice. I used to say, yes, I'm getting healthier nowadays. That's always the answer I give, because there's nothing else I can say.
Why did you feel that you had to speak positively about the medicine that Yajame was giving you?
itela mirado mune asabu idia muta boro nyina kuro ala kende ala beteato ya jamela ko boro men dialla mune asabu idia muta yo kuma kan sifalfo
da hanyila ka fo boro man bete am wolo dulam.
I'm afraid to say that the medicine is not good at that point in time.
Was the medicine in fact good?
Boro nying famfanga ni na to nyala fo boro nying abeteata le ba
Boro man bete ante balot.
The medicine is not good for me.
You were there when there were lots of people receiving the same treatment. Was there anyone from among the group that the medicine was sort of like a positive on?
For most of the jela ba omol kono je me alon ko boro nying anatna bete ya fele bang
I can speak about myself, but I don't know the condition of the other people.
How about your husband?
Kedum
Kema.
ha
Anema fonyi ko boro bete ata wala man bete.
He never told me whether the medicine is good for him or not good for him.
Was there any point during the treatment when some of the patients were discharged?
for wati nana soton da jela bang tembo men me alon ko menul be jaralo la je inata na mobule kono bang ke bula yesey fo jaralo nyi wicho nyi kono fo mo soton da lay bem bula bang
Ay nene modol bulak.
Yes, some people were released to go home.
And can you tell us why they were released to go home?
Sa fo no nyam dalila jumale ya sabu yewol bula pour yesey
O mari ay terol le soton mini kana jibe.
Well, the person had friends who used to come there to visit this person.
So because the person had a visitor, the person was dismissed from the program, correct?
Munda o mari nying ay mo le soro men kana kumpa boje terol wala ya sabu ya bay programo nying kono jarale programo nying kono fonya
Ay mole soto mini kana kumpa boja kama lafika o mol jeje.
Yes, there were people.
Babo mimben tol kunta je Rose kama lafika Rose jeje.
Yes, there was a white person called Rose who used to come and see us because she was one time helping us. So she comes there to visit us. So one day he said he doesn't want to see this white person there. So that's why he decided to send away the person who Rose comes to see.
Apart from this person that was dismissed from the treatment, was there anyone that they released from the treatment and told to go home?
For modo koten soton dalaba ye membula ikaya mari ye say.
Amofla saying.
Well, he also released 2 people to go home.
You told us one, it was because the person had visitors and he did not want visitors coming in to see this person.
Killing mo follow ni ko mari nyinga aka kumpa borla le soro menu kana mari kumpa boje anata na foko amalla fi pour moy na mo kumpa boje anata na mari bay wala mu killing oti.
How about the other one?
Do kote ngonyindum.
Do kote ngonyin isonkata jel ana badin dole sonkata bay asayta baran bira sayren kola abanta.
Well, the other one quarreled with a relative who was also there, and after the quarrel, he sent that person away, but that person later passed away.
On the protected information sheet, you gave me the names of the people that died during the treatment.
Ye mol tol diala men yalonko ifata we jaralo ni wicho nyin kono.
Yes, I named some people there whom I knew.
Can you tell us what happened to them?
Well, they died, but I don't know what happened to them.
When you were in this treatment, can you recall how many people died within the time that you were there?
Well, some people died, male and female.
Can you recall the number that died?
Diabetes.
One is an elderly woman who passed away, and the other person is a young person who had diabetes, but that person also passed away.
You provided me with the names of 4 people. These 4 people that you provided their names.
There
was another person from Brikama, a female.
The names that you gave me, were all those people part of the same treatment, and were they taking the same medications that you were taking?
Yes, at that time we were all taking the same kind of medicines.
When people started dying in the treatment, did you believe that the treatment was still true?
Well, when they took my blood sample, that's the time I knew that it was true.
We'll come back to this. Let me just leave you to explain what you want to say. Can you tell us when they took your blood sample, what happened?
Muneketa. After they took my blood sample, we started drinking medicine up to 3 months.
What did they tell you after taking your blood sample?
Undetectable.
After taking the medicine for 3 months, they told me that I am undetectable.
And when they told you you were undetectable, what did you understand by that?
You are undetectable. Wala mu yindi mete sute. Muna kete ite la miralo do mo koto.
Man sa sute yellow kono.
Wala imang jankar kesoje yellow kono.
Ay ka banta yellow kono. Fereng.
They said the virus is no longer existing in my blood system. They said it has all been exhausted.
So when they told you that there was no virus in your blood, you believed them, correct?
Amunda biri ko silang nyingkura jankar keso nying abante jaro kono le ilata le fotonya.
Alata.
Yes, I believed.
Now, who told you that there was no virus in your blood?
You mala fa nying foe ka foe ko jankar keso nying ate jaro kono kotange.
Dr. Mbole na resource kara.
It was Dr. Mbo who read our results to us.
So even with all the deaths that occurred during the treatment, but because Dr. Mbo told you that you were undetectable, the viral load was undetectable in your system, you believe that the treatment was true, correct?
Bring Dr. Mbo nyumfoyonko saying imanjankar kesoluje iyelo kono. So biring ayo fo silang ifanalla taala la ko to nyalom nyinti jankar keso nyin abanta yelo kono le ilata wala no butumo bang.
Awote mom fanalla ta ko to nyalo.
Yes, at that time I also believed that it was true.
And that was 3 months into the presidential alternative treatment.
And wayatara aliye karisabo kije president la nyin jararo programo kono.
Yes.
How about your husband? What was his diagnosis at that time?
Ikema dum wotembo atela sasa abe tembeda jumal to ngotumo.
Iriya results okara eko atema undetectable that's the man.
When after they read the results, they said as for him he still has the virus in his system. He has not been undetected.
When they told you that you were the viral load was undetectable in your system, did they release you to go home?
Biriya nyum foyen ko silang imanjankar kesoje iteyelo kono koteke abante jato kono le fo inate bulale bam pour yesay.
Ani wannan bulan continental nga borom.
No, I was not released. I continued taking the medicine.
Why did you continue taking the medicine if they said they could not, the virus was no longer in your blood?
Muna na sila ita continue ka boro min wairi ko jankar keso nyim bante iteyelo kono le fente bala jato kono koteke.
Eko punga continental borom purunga kende asoto kendeke.
They said that I should continue taking the medicine to be cured properly.
And for how long did you continue taking the medication?
Saying ye wati jelle ke ka continue ka borota.
Karworo dinna nada karwor kotel kar saba kotel lakam o birinna karworo bantay.
At the completion of the 6 months, we continued for another 3 months.
After 6 months, did they check your blood again?
Biring kariworo banta fo inate yelo jubele koteke bang.
In karworo bantay yambulala yela jibe to kote.
After the 6 months, the 6 months, I was released, and there was no blood test.
How about your husband? Was he also released?
Ikema dung yate fanam bulale wotembo bang.
Ayembe bulalum kilama.
Yes, we were released on the same day.
Before releasing your husband, did they check his blood?
Janni be kema bulala yate fana yelo jubele bang.
Ayembe yelo jibe wat killing.
Yes, they tested our bloods at the same time.
And what was the result of your husband's test?
Biri kema yelo jube ate inata ala koje nyadile.
Inata jibe ko jankaro mambanga te bala kuring.
It was noticed that the virus was not completely out of him. That was why we extended for another 3 months.
That's what I'm asking for. After the extension, after 6 months, did they discover that there was no viral load in your husband's bloodstream?
wala mnyinte akawala nyinin katem bring kari woro banta yali jibe itatatara ko jankaro nyim mambang ikema yelo kono freng akawala nyinin kawo nata ke nyadile
man now fay ko te birin kari woro banta en tol bula wala fi.
They did not tell him that. After the 6 months, we were released.
What was the state of your health at the time you were released, both you and your husband?
atel dunna jata kende abe tembe jumale to nungo tumo ibali bulala tumo menna ite fango ani kema
nene malaye sasala de bari mbalo kon.
Well, we never lie down as if we were sick, but there was something in our body which was not okay.
And did you go to find out what was wrong with your body after you were discharged from the president's alternative treatment?
Saying, biri yali bula kabo president la ujara ro nyim kono fal tata le kata alila yelo jibe kota ke kala kunya jibe albete medaju malto al tata ujube ro la leba
Ere bira e mbula ngaje ko mbalo nin ko mbesila wonya mbe bata murunda lo tano to bir kama William Bay nata banjo.
When he released us, I realized that if I should sit down like that, I will be disturbed. So I decided to return to the hospital. I went to Brikama. They chased me away, and then I went to Banjul.
Why did they chase you away from Brikama Health Center?
Munana ye bay Brikama lobitano to.
Kama loptan folora yedo jara woko birin dolbira ma kalamda.
That was where we started our treatment. So he said when we were going away, we did not inform him, and therefore he could not continue with us again.
And what happened when you went to Banjul?
Munana take biri tata Banjul.
I went to Banjul and took treatment there.
What kind of treatment did you take from? Did you get from Banjul Hospital?
Yemun jaral fason ne soto kabo Banjul loptano to.
HIV treatment. We also took medicines.
And which hospital in Banjul was it?
Lopitan jumalemu Banjul je.
Dan dinne loptano bedam.
Where the children's hospital is.
Were you surprised when you were given HIV treatment, given that they told you that the virus was undetectable in your system?
Fanya yete terenne, kate terenne makolti, biring ya damuta ka HIV borolu dila koteke, bandu ngotumo ya foyete neko jankar keso bante te yelo konole.
Kitanya teremme makote bare te birim bitaje famo. Juskundo kalias te nata viste ko HIV.
I was surprised because when I was going there, I was having a breathing problem, and I was tested and told that I had HIV.
You said Dr. Mbow told you that the virus was undetectable in your system.
Dr. Mbow le koyenko jankar kesolu nyilu silang imaje yelo kono koteke.
Now you went back to the hospital and they put you on HIV medication.
Sila inata muru lopitano to koteke ye imurundi ka HIV jararo damote ye koteke.
What Dr. Mbow told you, do you think it was true?
Woto silang Dr. Mbow ye memfoye nung foto nyalom bang.
Orande malla ko to nyalom Dr. Mbow.
I don't believe his statement to be true.
So Dr. Mbow gave you a false statement as to your status.
Amunda woto Dr. Mbow ye kuma soto balole foye itela tembedato ila jara rola karola.
Yes.
How did you feel after knowing that Dr. Mbow lied to you?
Saying iya je nyadile yata nyadile birina taje ko Dr. Mbow manto nya foye.
Ninde undetectable dam ndeta muruna loptan ko.
If I was undetectable, I wouldn't have gone back to the hospital again.
How about your husband? Did he go back to the hospital?
Ekema atefana muruta lopitano to lebang.
Murunda loptano.
He returned back to the hospital.
Was he also given any medication?
Afanandu ye boro ludi ala lebang.
Ay ka boro diara.
Yes, they gave him medicine.
What kind of medication did the hospital put for you?
Lopitano dung ye mumbori fasonu le dila kotake.
Sectorin ninan phosphorus animal ta vitamin anim biko.
Well, Septrin, multivitamins, and Bico.
I'm talking about after the treatment. What medications did they give you?
Ako jara ronin kola. Biral muruta lopitano to. Ye mumbori fasonu le dialla.
Yararo yin kola den ke ma continue da. Sectorin animal ta vitamin anim biko.
After the treatment, my husband continued with Septrin, multivitamins, and Bico. But for me, they gave me ARV.
So after the presidential alternative treatment, you were put on ARVs, correct?
Brim President lo jara lo tambita ibota okono utumolam inata nying ARV boro lu dialla. Ditela.
Yes.
On the protected information sheet I have before me,
Amunta kullo kaito membelaring anyati lingula.
you also provided me with the names of the people that died immediately after the treatment.
Yemulu fanalu tolu foje menia lonko wole fata bring ila jara ro butala drong.
And you gave me 7 names.
Andu yetto woro wulale diala wor karola.
Yes.
Were those people discharged from the treatment?
Woldum fanang ya fole bang ye jarale hanfo ye bula pru ye bo ye sai.
Ye doli jarale seta dol.
Some were cured and discharged. Some died.
So, given that these people died immediately after the treatment, do you think that anyone was cured even from the concussions or the herbal medicines that are given to you?
Saying alung nyimolu menu ye foteng ifatale drom bring ila jara ro banta. Woto silang ye boro lu menu dialla. Alla jara ro wuche onyin ila miroto odum fo woto boro lu dung ya li jara le bay beteata le bang.
Menu fat.
Those that die, you mean?
Ye jarale.
They were cured?
Let me rephrase it. Would they have died if they were totally cured from the HIV virus?
Aka menyinin ka wala mnyintiko. Nyimmolu menu fata teng wairi ye bandi jara ro la kola long inata fa. Woto natara ila jara ro nyimboro nyi ye jara le foi kendeata ila miroto be fala le bang.
Dol murunda loptane.
Well,
dol sita wala nyam ifat.
some returned to the hospital, some did not. Some just sat down like that and died.
Thank you very much, Madam Witness.
Inumbara sedo.
Can you tell us what the impact of this treatment has been on you and your family?
Saying ninjara ro men idunta konoteng. Itela miroroto ay mun kule sababu itema ila moyato inila dimbaya la karola.
This treatment placed a lot of difficulty on my family.
Oh, thank you very much, Madam Witness. Mr. Chairman, that will be all from me for the witness.
Inumbara bake sedo. Tung atayala nyininkaro kumfajanne.
Thank you very much, my counsel, and thank you very much, Madam Witness, for your testimony.
Inumbara bake counsel ay counsel le jayoto inumbara bake sedo itafanan na sedearo kang.
I just have 2 shocking reactions. To one, working on the cashew plantation for former President Jammeh, and HIV patients dancing in the middle of the night. I don't know what the dancing was for. Was it for exercise? Was it a ritual dance or was it dancing for pleasure?
Ako teremma kufula men ya lonko ya den wolem nyin kufuloti wolem nyinti ko folo sasa tolu men be jara rola kawulu samba kasu kulu tombongola afulan jango molu men ya lonko ko be jara rola be HIV jara rola suto talamfula wulu kana kawulu kuning pour yeta dongola wo dongo dum ikake ila nyin silo le kanko ibe ila jara rolem wala balabo nyoto lem wala ibake kampuru ila silo le la koila alabato silo itele ka kolu menu tamandi wonya fodo ibake kam mune kan
doli ayo ko na jara kende ya silo ka wala kam.
We saw it was in line with our health. That was what it was done for.
Thank you very much, Emma. Commissioners, if you have any questions, please indicate. Otherwise, Madam Witness, if you have any closing remarks to make, please make them now. Oh, sorry. Oh, sorry, my apologies. Bishop, you have the floor, please.
Yo, Bishop le lafte nyinin kala.
Madam Witness, when you and your husband left for the treatment, you left your children at home. And you were not sure that you would spend a long time outside your home. Now, did you inform the former president and his aides that you left your children at home unattended to?
Fodung alienyin kibaro di wo president kotolale ko aliala dindingulu tu sokonole adung almetu molu buluje menube tarla dindingulu la ko be kunna wotumo falio kibaro fayna ba
mawo foy mawo fay.
We didn't tell him that.
Why was it? Because the children were young and you were their parents, and if you didn't have good neighbors to take care of them for that long period.
Ako munana ketawonya katu dindingulu be doyaring wotumo ning wayatara dung aliman sinyo kendo lusoto men ya lonko alnibe siri nunyo kanje ko belala nyaadi le nun
dolga ala fangale ma ko do nga sinyo kendo lusoto e hakilo tunyen na dimbaya
For us, for us, we thank God that we had good neighbors who were attentive to our children. For us, we left the house as if we were people who weren't in control of themselves.
Thank you. Imam C, you have the floor, please.
Imam C, lebo ofanan lafte nyinin kala le.
Dede bi jërëjëf.
Ako sedo inumbara.
Li ma lay laaj ndax seen faj biñ leen doon faj noonu ndax da ngeen doon fay wala du ngeen fay.
Ako albe o jara ro men na nutumo. Ale ka joro le kabale ka kodo le jo bang fudung ale buka fenjo.
Ka fenjo de fodomor.
We did not do anything except the food.
Thank you. Please proceed to make final remarks, Madam Witness, if you have any now.
Saying Commission la Sirantio, Chairman, ako. Ita fanambela kumakangulu kumfala kukundi na ilafta memfola muli. Isi o kumakangulu for saying. Ning kumabeda.
For us, since we left that treatment, this television affair brought a lot of belittling in my village. Now, we are nothing, we are suffering, and we are soliciting help from all angles.
Na dimbayal ngamini tu bunkono atare we be doyare man fensi.
My family that I left behind at that time, they were young, they are schooling.
Kabi han so man na dimbayal be karamu de man tamil iman karambu bang ibiye ndafanang felen ke ma ni mimbe treatment wala bantale sai moti ye mimbe lola kan dolla ko.
Up to now, my children are still going to school. They have not completed. And my husband, with whom I was with, has now died. And there is no one to assist us. My family are not yet able to sustain themselves. I do a little bit of petty training.
Madam na bungol bele ke bata hani fen wala tambulu fo bata doron kabir mbota wo trick meno bata doron wol be laren kun kanja.
Now the only thing we have now is hardship. Since we left the treatment, our house is old now.
Wo bata ndanga mara fo dunia mi yenda ngai bolje wojutu na ya wala benka ndaka wala miraje.
That suffering, I think it is as a result of the exposure I was given to the world, which is responsible for it. This is my statement.
Thank you very much, Madam Witness, for your
we are soliciting assistance for the family from all corners.
It's
not for me personally, but my family, if they can have a way forward, it will be as if I am the one that have it myself. Yes. I plead to you for that. This is my statement.
Thank you, Madam Witness, and my apologies for that interruption. I thought you had finished your statement. But we thank you very much again for coming to testify before the Commission.
Chairman ko abenum barala abe hakedani la ayamira nu yebandi le wala nunto adiam raka kuntu nyato ko barbitun hanimbi inum bara provision takana sede arola.
Mr. Chairman, sorry for interrupting you. I just need to put in the information sheet as exhibit.
Yes.
And that will be exhibit 149, with your permission.
Yeah, request granted.
Thank you.
Just one word of apology to Madam Witness. Sorry you had to endure so much abuse, massive abuse from the President of the Republic of the Gambia for no reason.
Chairman ko isi haketu alafta ibulo saila kukilina yemantora bataki bata ba kabo na bankola President Kotobulu ando amanna ke dalila wo dalila kanti yo bata beta ke wonya.
The abuses that you outlined were directly from him and his enablers.
Amunta yo batani o mantoro lumen be laite kang amunta ate fango kunguna la o mo lumen ka makoi itelela baro mo beti.
Sorry, you and the other patients had to go through that massive abuse from the President.
Haketu ite ningo mo kotengo lumen be tata jara rola je amunta ali be dunta o bata ba kilingule kono al beje tu momen.
Well, thank you so much for your testimony.
Ko bari hanimbi abenu mbarala ila songo kana sede arola.
We would release some a witness at the moment. Do we go directly, counsel, to the next witness, or we take a 5-minute break, suspension?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. If we may take a 5-minute break.
Thank you. Meeting is suspended for 5 minutes. Thanks.
I do swear that I'll speak the truth. I'll speak the truth. The whole truth. The whole truth. And nothing but the truth. And nothing but the truth. So help me God. So help me God.
Good afternoon, witness. Good afternoon, witness.
Afternoon.
Can you speak louder, please, so that we can hear you more clearly?
All right. Afternoon, ma.
Welcome to the TRRC, and thank you for coming here to give your testimony today.
All right.
My name is Sagar. We've already been introduced.
Yes.
I just want to go through a few housekeeping rules with you this afternoon before we begin.
All right.
Can you please take a position in the cubicle where I can have your attention in case I need to? Just move a little bit to your left. Thank you.
Okay.
So that I can see you.
All right.
Yes. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Also, because there's interpretation going on in the local languages into English, please take your statements slowly
Okay.
so that they're able to follow you.
All right.
You also have a duty, as I have already warned you, to tell the truth whilst you're giving your testimony before the commission.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, may I ask that perhaps we can have some local language on the floor of the commissions, the hearing room, so that the audience will be able to follow, perhaps Mandinka or Wolof, if that's possible.
Okay.
Are you all set? Interpreters, are you set for Wolof? Thank you very much. Witness?
Yes.
Just keep in mind that we'll have Wolof on the floor of the hearing room whilst you're speaking in English. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's all right.
I would just like to go through some of the topics we'll be covering in your testimony so that you have an idea.
dama bëgg rek pour jox la xamal yi nga xam ne moom la ñoo war a waxtaanee bu ko defee nga mën koo xam.
All right.
As an AIDS patient, we will go through your initial diagnosis.
Yes.
Comme que yow da nga nekk koo xam ne ko amoon feebar AIDS dinañ bëgg a ñëw xam fan lañ la ko waxee ne yaa ngi amee feebar bi.
Okay. The place I was first diagnosed.
fu ñu ma musoon a diagnose first.
Yes, we are just going through the topics. You're not to speak yet. We will come to that part afterwards.
All right. All right.
I just want to give you an indication of the topics we'll be covering.
waaye jotagut na pour yow nga wax dama la bëgg a xamal rek li ñoo séntu pour wal koo waxtaanee.
Okay.
Yeah, so we will go through your initial diagnosis, and then we will then move on to the Presidential Alternative Treatment Program.
léegi ñu njëkkaa seeta bañ la ko njëkkee wax ne da nga amee feebar bi bu ko defee nag ñu door a ñëw ci faj bi nga xam ne moom la président bi doon fajee.
Okay.
We will then finally look at the impact of that treatment on your life.
bu ko defee nag ñu seet tamit faj googu lan la la jural sa wàlli dunda.
All right.
The commissioners will be given an opportunity to ask you any questions they may have, and then you'll make some final remarks before we close.
bu ko defee rek commissioner yi ñoom tam bu fekkee ne am na luñ laa laaj ñu laaj la ko nga joxe sa kàddu yi mu jabalaa ñoo tëj.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I have shared the protected information sheet, which has the relevant confidential information on it, as well as the biographical information of the witness.
Mr. Chairman.
Go ahead.
Kayit bi nga xam ne moom laa leen séddaale noonu mu ngi amee lépp loo xam ne moo aju ci xibaari seede bi ak yi nga xam ne moom lañ bëgg a xam waaye dañ koo aar pour bu ko ñeneen ñi gis.
Mr. Witness, we will give you a copy of the PIS. Can you kindly confirm that your biographical information is accurately reflected?
Seede bi dinañ la jox kayit bi na yow tam pour nga mun a wéral ne liñ fa binda yépp loolu mooy li nga xam ne moo xew ci sa mbir.
Do you have a copy of the PIS in front of you, witness?
Yes, yes, I have it.
Is the information correct as stated?
Yes, it's correct.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, before we move on, I would like to admit the PIS as part of the record as Exhibit 149, I believe.
Mr. Chairman, dama bëgg a dugal kayit bi nag mu bokk ci kayiti seede yi.
I'm just told that the number is actually 150. I believe there was an exhibit in the last session. The exhibit is 150 and not 149, as I have stated.
Request granted, Counsel. Please continue. Thank you.
Thank you. We will begin with your testimony now.
Okay.
Can you tell us when you were first diagnosed with HIV or AIDS and tell us which one it was?
Yes, I was first diagnosed in 2008.
2008 foofu lañ ma musoon diagnosed pour seet ne man dama am feebar jàngoro bi.
In Bijilo clinic.
ci lopitaani Bijilo.
Can you tell us whether it was HIV or AIDS?
ñu mëna wax na doomi jàngoro HIV bi nga amoon wala AIDS ci boppam.
It was AIDS.
AIDS la.
Tell us what happened after you were diagnosed.
Léegi wax ñu gannaaw buñ la waxee ne danga amee feebar bi lu xew.
Yes, when I was told that, then I was referred to MRC.
buñ ma waxoon loolu ci lañ ma yónni woon pour ma dem MRC.
And what happened when you got to MRC?
Léegi ba nga àggee MRC lu xew.
When I went to MRC, they also did their own findings because they said they don't believe the other findings that comes from other places. They do their own findings to find whether it's true or not.
bu ma demoon MRC ñoom luñ ma waxoon ñu ne ñoom tamit dañoo def seen gestu bi parce que ñoom duñ óolu rek beneen gestu bi noonu xanaa ñoom ñu def ko pour ñoom tamit ñu gis ne dëgg feebar bi maa ngi ko amee.
And what was their diagnosis after they tested it?
Léegi nag ñoom biñ seetalee seen bopp nag lan lañ ci gis.
Yes, they found that they are telling truth. The result that I have, I was having AIDS.
ñoom tamit noonu lañ ko gisee ne dëgg la li lu am la maa ngi amee feebar bi buñ dee wax AIDS.
And at that time of the diagnosis, how serious was the disease in you?
Jamono jooju ñu la wax ne yaa ngi amee feebaru AIDS bi nag naka la feebar bi duggee woon.
Yes, I was very sick by then because my CD4, they told me my feeding count was like 40.
feebar woon na trop time boobu noonu parce que luñ ma waxoon sax ñu ne suma CD4 bi ñu wàcce na ba 40.
Yes, and the doctor told me that I was on high viral load.
te docteur bi lu ma waxoon mu ne suma viral load bi dafa wàcc trop. dafa high trop.
And can you tell us what the significance of that when your antiviral load is high and your CD4 count is low? What does that mean?
Waa ndax di ñu mën a leeralal loolu lan la tekki su fekkee ne sa viral load bi dafa kowe woon sa CD4 count bi mu wàcca loolu lu mu tekki.
Yes, when your CD4 count is down, it means you are sick.
mu ne sa CD4 bi su wàccee mooy yow da nga feebar trop.
And when your viral load is high, it means you are very sick.
Mune sa viral load bi mom su high moy da nga febar trop.
And the case is that when the reverse is the case, that means that you're doing much better, you're healthier. Is that correct?
Yes.
Wow.
So what kind of treatment, if any, did you receive?
Legi bu fekkee ne yaa ngi ci doon faju ban façon faju nga doon jël.
That's the time they say that I have to start taking ARV.
Watu bobu lañ ma waxoon ni dama wara door di jël ARV.
Can you tell us what ARV means?
Di ñu mëna wax lan mooy ARV.
Antiviral viral drugs.
Antiretroviral drugs.
Yes.
Viral drugs.
Yes.
And what were those drugs supposed to do?
Garab yooyu moom ARV bi lu moo def yow.
I was told that those people, they will try to suppress the sickness inside me. They try to suppress the AIDS so that it cannot grow in my body.
ñu ne loolu su ma ko jëlee loolu mooy sonal feebar bi bu nekk sama yaram trop du mun a am doole sama biir yaram bi.
And as far as you were concerned, was there any form of treatment in conventional medicine that would actually cure you of this disease AIDS that you had at the time?
To yow jamono jooju nag ndax gëmoon nga ne am na benn garabi tubaab boo xam ne dina la doon mun a faj feebar bi ci jamono booba.
No, they don't tell me that they have the cure. They told me that, I mean, there's no cure for this, I mean, for AIDS. They don't have the conventional medicine, cannot cure it. It can only control it.
luñ ma waxoon mooy garab bi daal du ko mën a faj de ba mu jeex waaye daf koy wàññi dafay rey dooleem bi daal loolu lañ ma wax.
Apart from the treatment that you received from MRC, did you receive any other treatment from elsewhere?
Gannaaw faju bi nga amee MRC ndax amoon na benn faj boo xam ne amee nga ko feneen.
Yes, I've been having my treatment from MRC for some time when I was told that I have to transfer to Brikama. I mean,
waaw dama doon jël suma garab bi MRC balaa ñu ne ma léegi dañ ma war a transfer Brikama.
Yes,
when were you transferred to Birkama, and where in Birkama were you transferred to?
Kañ lañ la toxal Birkama ak fan ci Birkama lañ la toxal?
I was transferred to Brikama in 2010.
Loolu 2010 la nekkoon. ci lañ ma toxal depuis MRC yóbbu ma Brikama.
Hands-on care in Brikama.
Hands-on care Brikama.
And who was in charge of that facility in Birkama, hands-on care?
Hands-on care boobu nekk Birkama kan moo ko jiite woon?
It's one Dr. Sabali.
Benn Dr. Sabali moo ko jiite woon.
And what kind of treatment did you receive there?
Ban façon faj nga fa daan am?
It was the same treatment as what I was having from MRC.
Benn faju boobu rek laa doon amee foofu no feebar bu faj bu ma doon am MRC boobu laa continuer pour jël te Birkama.
And that was, you were taking the ARV drugs?
Yes.
Te bon yaa ngi doon jël garab ARV bi?
Yes.
How were those drugs administered to you?
Naka nga daan jëlee garab yooyu?
Yes, I take one in the morning and take one in the evening.
Dama dee naan benn si suba ma naan benn si ngoon.
And apart from taking those drugs, was there any other kind of support that was offered at hands-on care or at MRC for your illness?
Gannaaw garab yooyu nga doon naan nag ndax am na yenn ndimbal yoo xam ne yaa ngi ko amoon mu bàyyeekoo ci hands-on care bu Birkama wala MRC?
Yes, I mean, when I go there, they used to, I mean, give me my fare, my fare, and as well, and any other appointment they used to give us, I mean, like provisions.
Dañu dee may pass pour ñu jàppale ñu si mbiri pass ba pare si biir loolu tamit dañu dee jox ay provisions comme loo xam ne naal dinañ ko soxla pour lekka.
Did you receive any form of psychosocial support or counseling?
Amoon na yenn ñoo xam ne dañ daan toog di leen waxtaanal mbiri feebar bi?
Yes, I have it at MRC.
Waaw amoon naa loolu MRC.
As well as in Birkama.
Birkama tamit mu fa demee amoon naa loolu tamit.
And as far as your health was concerned, after you started your treatment for AIDS, how were you managing?
Ci sa wàllu wérgu yaram nag bi nga commencé di faju feebari AIDS bii nii naka nga meloon?
Yes, I was healthy. I was healthy. I just go back to my work. I can do all the type of work. I can work in the farm, do whatever work I want to do, I can do it.
Dama wéroon dama wéroon bu baax sax dama dee mën a def liggéey bu nekk dama dee mën a dem tool dama dee mën a def lu nekk lu ma bëgg a def rek sax dama ko dee mën a def.
So you were fit as well as healthy?
Yes, I was fit and healthy.
Can you tell us what subsequently happened after that?
Gannaaw loolu nag lan moo xewaat?
Yes, I've heard that the president announced that he can cure the AIDS, the sickness out from your body.
Loolu passé si lañ dégg ne président bi mu ne dina mun a faj feebar bii nii ndee wax HIV/AIDS.
When did you hear that announcement and where did you hear it?
Kañ nga ko dégg ak fan nga ko déggee?
Yes, I first heard it in 2007.
Boobu 2007 la woon. But
then I don't know my status. So I mean I don't just because that was 2007 and I was diagnosed in 2008.
Why time boobu noonu man xamoon suma wér bu yaram moom time boobu noonu parce que loolu moom bu mu ko doon announce loolu 2007 la woon te man buñ ma doon diagnose pour xam ne dama am jàngoro bi fekk loolu 2008 la woon.
So it was that when I was diagnosed in 2008, that's the time that I decided to go there and find out whether, I can be cured of it.
buñ sété suma deret bi ba ñu ne dama am feebar bi te time boobu noonu président bi moom door na fajam boobu noonu man tam si laa dem foofu noonu pour seet ndax dinaa mën a am faj.
What information did you get from the announcement from the president?
bi ñu defee yéebaane boobu yow ban xibaar nga ci jëlee.
The news that I have is that he can cure it, and when he cure it, yes, when he cure it, even after the cure, he cure you, even you will never even have a malaria. Even headache, you will never have malaria or headache. You will never feel sick anyway. You will only be healthy.
man bu ma ko njëkk a dégg moom lu mu waxoon mu ne moom mun na faj HIV/AIDS te su la fajee ba nga wér doo mos a feebar malaria sax wala feebar yu sew yi nii doo ko mos a am.
Considering the fact that you were living a pretty fit and healthy life and your disease was being managed by the ARV drugs, can you tell us what actually motivated you to go in for this particular treatment, keeping in mind that they had already told you that AIDS had no cure?
comme que yow yaa ngi yëg ci sa yaram ne yaa ngi dëgër yaa ngi wér yaa ngi mën a toppatoo ji sa soxla bon la te yaa ngi doon jël garab yi ARV lan moo la dugaloon nag ci dem pour dem faju ji foofu noonu te comme que wax nañ la ne AIDS amut faj.
Yes, because in the conventional treatment they told you that they can just manage it but they cannot cure it. And if I happen to hear somebody who he said that he can cure it, then I think for me that one I wanted to be cured. I don't just want to be controlling it. I just want to be cured out of my body. That's why, and I believe him. And he is the president in the country. He don't like anything.
comme si lopitaan bi ñoom leeralal ne ma ko ñu ne feebar bi duñ ko mun a faj dañ koy contrôle rek pour xam nga bu mu la sonal waaye man su ma toogee ci biir loolu ma ñëw dégg ne am na ku ne dafa mun a faj feebar bi HIV/AIDS te man dama bëgg a wér feebar bi dama bëgg a ma nekk nit ku wér loolu moo tax man tam ma gëm ma dem am hope bi ne su ma demee dinaa am faj.
So it was your desire to be cured that actually motivated you to want to join his treatment program?
Yes.
dafa mel ni bëgg a wér rek yow moo taxoon nga dem dugg ci fajam bi.
Yes.
loolu la kay.
Why did you believe that he actually had a cure for AIDS?
lan taxoon nga gëm ne moom mun naa faj AIDS.
Yes, because for me, as my own thinking, as I take it, I don't think somebody like his caliber will not lie to people. Because that is just like if you think that if you know that you cannot cure it and you lie to the people, it means that you want to kill them because this sickness it kills.
man comme si man daal man fooguma ne nit ku mel ni moom te moom président la woon ñëpp xam ne président la du mun a taxaw mu ne moom dafay mun a faj li te munu koo kon léegi moom su melee noonu ne moom mun na faj li te munu koo faj dafa mel ni daal dafa bëgg a rey nit ñaam yi rek noonu laa ko gisee.
And where did you eventually go to seek treatment?
foo mujj a dem nag gannaaw bi pour dem fajoo ji fa.
At first I went there in 2009. That year the people were there were too many, so I don't have a place. So they told me to go and wait for next selection.
man bu njëkk bi dama demoon foofu nu boobu year 2009 la woon waaye bu ma fa àggee dama fekk nit ñi bëri woon na trop ba ñu ne ma léegi yow dellu la nga toogangum ba nit ñi wàññeeku nit ñi suñu wàññeeku nga ñëw door sa treatment bi.
Which place did you go to?
fan nga demoon.
By then it was at Serkunda General Hospital.
boobu Serkunda General Hospital la woon.
And because you said there was an overwhelmingly there were a lot of people, you were not actually able to join the program then, so you had to wait.
Yes.
comme jamono boobu yow ba ngaa dem pour bugg a commencer faj bi nit ñi dañ fa bari woon ba amuloo fa woon place ñu wax la ne nga dem toog xaar.
waaw.
How popular was the program then?
Yeah, it was very popular because if you go, when I went there, I met so many people there, a lot of people.
loolu si woon na man bu ma fa demoon nit ñi bëri woon na trop foofu noonu.
Even some people are not even Gambians. I can recognize some Senegalese there. There are some Senegalese there and some from different parts of country. People from Guinea, Conakry, and all other countries.
am na ñoo xam ne sax jógewuñ Gambia fii ni ñeneen ni Sénégal ñeneen ni Guinée Bissau Guinée Conakry
Guinée Bissau
ñeneen ni sax Guinée Bissau da nga leen gis foofu noonu ñoom tam si faj bi lañ ñëw ut garab.
So you were not the only one who was interested in his claims to a cure in AIDS.
Ban mi mel ni du yow rek a ite woon daal pour dem faju ci fajam AIDS sam bi.
Wow.
And what did you have to do to apply for the program?
Léegi loo def pour mun a bokk ci programme bi faju bi.
They ask you have to bring passport size like 4 passport size. So that's why I brought there. Then they give me a form to fill. Then I fill my form. Then after I leave it with them there. So they say that when they need me, then they'll call you with my phone number and the type of HIV I have in my body.
Lu ñu la dee laaj mooy dañ la dee laaj pour nga indi sa 4 passport size bi léegi soo indee loolu ba pare nga bàyyi fa sa téléphone number ak yow bam façon jàngoro bi naka la tudda loolu yëpp da nga koy bind si form bi nga fiil ko waaw su paree nga toog si kër gi ñoom suñu paree dañ lay woo.
So this was in 2009. Can you tell us when you were eventually called?
Lii mu ngi xewoon 2009 kañ lañ la mujj oo nag gannaaw gi.
That was 2015.
Loolu 2015 la nekkoon.
So you actually had to wait for 6 years to actually get admitted into this program?
Yes.
Bon toog nga xaar juróom-benni at balaa nga dugg ci faju bi.
Yes.
Wow.
That was because it was so popular, so many people wanted to be on it.
Yes.
Mooy ne dafa siiwoon ba nga xam ne ñëpp a bëggoon a bokk ci faju bi.
Waaw noonu la meloon.
And how often were these treatment programs conducted?
Programme faj boobu ñu doon def naka la daan faral di amee.
I think it was like every year. Or sometimes it will. I realized that there was 1 or 2 years it did not happen. But apart from that, it used to have it every year.
Foog naa dafa dee am at bu nekk de am na at bu ñaari at yoo xam ne fajot waaye bu loolu passé at bu nekk la dee faj.
Were you told the actual number of participants per program?
Xamoon nga ñaata nit saa yu jëlee ay nit pour faj leen ñaata la daan faral di jël ci faj bu nekk.
I don't know of the others, but the first year I went there, that year they take 50 people.
Xaw ma bu ñeneen ñi de waaye man suma time bu mu jotee juróom fukki nit la jëloon ñooñu la doon faj sun time bi.
And in that particular year, 2009, when you went to the Serekunda Hospital, who was part of the team that consisted of the presidential treatment program?
Léegi yow atum 2009 bi nga demee foofu pour faju bi ñan ñooy ñi nga xam ne ñoo bokkoon ci faji président bi jamono boobu.
Well, like people who are leading it, who are organizing it, who are responsible for it, or you mean the patients?
Yes, please, yes.
ñu nekk di toppatoo faji feebarkat yi wala feebarkat yi ci boppam nga nekk di laaj.
Those who were actually assisting the president, working with him in the program.
ñi doon dimbale président bi laa wax ñi ko doon jàppale ci faj bi.
Yes, there were many.
Bari woon nañ de.
But the people that I recognize is, whether I can call the name of the persons.
Yes, please, you can go ahead and name them.
Okay, it's one Lamin Jata.
Bena Lamin Jata.
And Jawara.
Jawara. Lamin Jawara.
It's not Lamin Jawara, they call him Jawara. I don't know his surname.
Okay, Jawara. How ma turam santam wa Jawara lañ ko na.
And I also see Dr. Mbo there that year.
Gisoon naa Dr. Mbo tamit foofu noonu.
Would you happen to know what their respective roles were?
Ndax xamoon nga ñoom ñëpp ku ci nekk lan nga fa daan def.
Okay, it was Jawara who was registering people. Like when you want to join, he's the one who take your name and your form and things like that.
Jawara moom moo nekkoon di jël turi nit ñi comme soo buggee bokka moo dee jël sa tur jël foo jógee ak lu nekk daal luñ soxla.
So Lamin Jata, I don't know about what he is doing, but he was also there working with them.
Lamin Jata moom xaw ma woon lan mooy nekk liggéeyam de waaye moom tamit mu fa woon.
And Dr. Mbo, I saw him also there.
Dr. Mbo tamit gisoon naa ko foofu.
Yes.
And do you know what his particular role was, Dr. Mbo?
Dr. Mbo moom xamoon nga lan la fa daan def.
Yes, I just saw him there, but that day he was not doing anything. He just come there and was sitting down because that day there was no treatment going. It was only people who I was doing treatment. It was the Cuban doctors. The Cuban doctors were doing the scanning and some other things like that.
Dr. Mbo keroog bu ma ko daan gis foofu noonu nekkutoon di def dara dafa ñëw dugga rek jéena waaw waaye Cuban doctors yi ñoom ñoo dee nekk di treat nit ñi foofu noonu di faj nit ñi di jox nit ñi garab di lewis.
But did you know that Dr. Mbo was actually part of the program?
Yes, I know that he was actually the part of the program. In fact, at first, before I got there, he was the first person I contact. He's the one who told me that, I mean, that's where they used to normally take people, register people.
Dëgg la Mr. Mbo bokkoon na si programme boobu noonu because suma first dem bi foofu noonu moom laa njëkkoon a jokkool moom moo ne dëgg la lii am na te place nangam foofu lañ dee fajee nit ñi.
Thank you very much. So come 2015.
Yes.
Léegi atum 2015.
Yes. Where did you actually go to for this treatment?
Fan mboppam nga demoon pour faju ji.
It was Ndemban Clinic in Bakau.
Foofu Ndemban Clinic Bakau leen demoon.
Do you know what batch of the program you actually belong to?
Yow ci bañ batch nga bokkoon ci programme faju boobu.
I was not counting the badges, but I think it might be like the 8 because, I mean, the last badge was, I think it went up to about 7. So I think I will belong to the 7th badge.
Kontaw ma de waaye foog naa dem ne ba juróom-ñaar badge foog naa ne man si juróom-ñaareel badge bi laa bokk.
Was it the 7th or the 8th badge you belonged to?
The 8th.
Juróom-ñett badge bi laa bokkoon man.
Can you tell us what, if any, differences there were between your treatment program and the ones that you had heard of before?
Ndax di ñu mun a wax nag ndax am na benn uute bu am ci faj gi nga xam ne moom lañ doon faj yéen seen fànn ak ñeneen ñi nga xam ne déggoon nga leen balaa seen bos.
Okay. I mean, the others, those people, they gather them at one place. They don't go out. But for us, we are taking it as outpatient. You come and drink, I mean, you go home.
ñeneen ñi ñoom dañ leen boole woon benn place daje leen benn place fa leen dee dëkka ñu dem naani garab bi waaye ñun outpatient lañ ñun dañ dee dem naan garab ba pare ñibbi suñu kër.
And do you know if you were the first batch that actually participated in this kind of program or not?
xam nga ndax yéen ay woon kuréel bi njëkk yi nga xam ne yéen leen daan fajee noonu ngeen ñëw naan garab ñibbi ci yéen la commencé woon.
Yes, it started with us.
Si ñun la starté.
What about the program being conducted at the Ndemban Clinic in Bakau? Were you the first batch to actually go there as well?
Program biñ doon defee ci lopitaan bi ñoo wax Ndemban Clinic bi nekk Bakau ndax yéen tamit yéen ay njëlbeen yi nga xam ne fa ngeen dooree faju.
Well, I couldn't say that because, I mean, that's why I found them, but I don't know whether there were some badges before us, but that's why I found them.
loolu moom mun ma koo wéral parce que man buñ demee foofu noonu fekkoon ne ñeneen badge foofu noonu. And
in 2009, at the Sarakunda Hospital, you've already told us those who were responsible for the treatment program there. What about in Ndemban? Were they the same people or did they actually change?
Atum 2009 wax nga ñu ñi nga xam ne ñoo bokkoon ci faj gi 2015 nag boobu ba nga commencé faj bi ndax ñooñu la woon ndax wecci nañ leen.
Yes, I mean the people who were changed, I don't see Jawara there, and Jara was at Jerekunda General Hospital, and Dr. Mbo, I don't see him as well. The people I met there, it was Ansumana Jame and Lamin Jata and Auntie Numa and the others.
nit ñi ñu ma fa fekka ñoom Jawara bokkutoon foofu noonu moom ak Mr. Mbow ñu ma fekka foofu noonu mooy Ansumana Jame ñimma ak Lamin Jata ñun laa fa fekka.
And the one who used to give us medicine is called Lamin Kamara.
te ku nekkoon di ñu jox garab bi moom Lamin Jata. Lamin Kamara la tudda.
He's the one who will give us the.
moom moo ñu daan jox garab bi ñu naan.
Yes.
And who was Ansumana Jammeh?
Kan mooy Ansumana Jammeh?
I learned that he is a relative to the former president Yaya Jammeh.
déggoon naa ni dafa bokk ak Yaya Jammeh former president.
And what was his role in the program then?
Mom lan moy won taxawayam ci programme bi faju bi.
Anyway, I mean, when you go there, you first see him. You have to go and see him then, and he will ask you some questions and what type of HIV you have and your status, and he just interview you and just ask you some certain questions before you started the treatment.
Mom so agé bala ngay door di nan sa garab si mom ngay ñëk dem mu laccé la sa tour bi li sa problème li sa fièvre bi naka la tollu dal dafa melni si mom ngay ñëk dem mu melni daf lay sort of interview bala ngay door sa door di nan sa garab bi.
Do you know if he was actually heading that program there at Ndemban?
Xam nga ndax faju biñ doon def Ndemban fofu ndax mom moko jité won.
Yes, he was the head.
Mom mo nekkon jitt bi fofu nonu.
And can you confirm that this was still the presidential alternative treatment program headed by Jammeh himself?
Da di nga mëna wéral ne ben tay ci ben faj bi président Jammeh doon jité rek mom lañ doon def fofu ca Ndemban.
Yes.
Wow. Ena faj bi la.
You also mentioned Auntie Nyima. What was her role?
Da nga fi ku ñoo wax Auntie Nyima de mom lan moy won taxawayam.
Yes, what they told me about her was he was responsible for people who are diagnosed with asthma and hypertension, I think things like that. That's what she was. That was what was her responsibility. He was not, treating the people living with HIV. He was not treating them.
Luma dégon ci mom ñu né mom nit ñi ñoo xamné dañu am fièvre asthma ak yeneen ni mom bokkuton ci ñoo am HIV/AIDS pour jappalé né mom dal ci walu fièvre kat yi ñu am asthma ak yeneen fièvre yi mom ñom la nekkon di topoto.
And these are the diseases that you've mentioned, hypertension and as well as asthma.
Yes.
These were diseases that were part of the presidential treatment program too.
Yes, yes.
Yi nga fi tudda ni hypertension and asthma yooyu itam dafa bokkoon ci faji président bi.
Yes.
Wow.
Do you remember Auntie Nyima's surname?
Fàttaliku nga Auntie Nyima moomu naka la santa?
I think it's Baji. If I don't forget, I think it's Baji. Nyima Baji, yes.
Suma fàttewut foog naa Baji la santa.
And during this program in 2015, did you ever meet the president?
Ci faju bi ñu doon def atum 2015 ndax jotoon nga gisante ak président ba?
No, I never met with him.
No, musuma gisante président bi.
So unlike the other programs or batches where he actually administered medicine, he did not go through in your case?
Yes, he was not coming because as what he said, now he have trained these people, they can do whatever, he can do. So there's no need for him to be coming there.
Mom lu mu waxon mu ne fu mu nekk ni jaruton mom mu ñew legi comme amna ay nit yo xamne jangal na len ba ñu mun liggéey bi mom dal jarut mom mu ñew ñom dinañ ko mëna topato comme num ko bëggé.
So his team were fully qualified to handle the treatment without him?
Yes.
Wow, non la waxon.
Can you tell us in this case then how the treatment was actually administered on you and the others who attended?
Di ñu mëna wax faj bi naka lañ la ko daan fajé yow ci sa bop ak ñeneen ñi nga xamné sax ñu nga fa woon?
Yes, when you go, they just give you the concussion in a cup, then you drink.
Ñom dal so démé dal dañ lay tiba garab bi rek tiba rek jox la nga naan.
And who was actually in charge of that?
Kan mo daan joxe garab yi?
Lamine
Camara.
How was the medicine measured?
Naka lañ daan nattee garab gi?
It was just in a teacup, a cup of tea, where people drink a cup of tea. It's a cup.
Comme kaas tea nii rek buñ dee naanee tea boobu leen dee jël tiba garab bi jox la nga naan.
You were supposed to drink all of it?
Yes.
Wow. Dee naan garab bi yépp.
You said you were supposed to go each day and take the treatment because it was an outpatient
yes.
one.
Yes.
Nga ne yow daan dem rek naan garab gi ñibbi waat sa kër te daluñ la woon benn place.
Yes.
So what time would you normally go to take it?
Ban waxtu nga daan faral di dem?
I have to go to early. I used to go there early in the morning.
Dama dee teel a dem. Suba teel.
Around what time?
Laa dee dem.
Ban waxtu?
Just around 6 to 7.
Boori 6. Boori 7 yooyu dafay fekk
Yes.
na.
By 7:30, they said by 7:30 should find out that you are there so that you can take the medicine.
7 daf la war a fekk foofu noonu nga war a jëlee sa garab.
And how often would you be given that same dose of medication you were given in the morning?
It's like, it's like two or three times a day, but normally, I mean, they do it because it's outpatient. They give us, I mean, twice a day.
bu njëkk bi dañu waxoon danga koy naan ñetti yoon si bés bi waaye after buñ gisee ne ñun outpatient lañ ñi leen léegi dañ koy naan ñaari yoon si bés bi.
And were you there on both occasions? Did you come in the morning and later on, or how was this done?
Naka nga ko daan defee dang daan ñëw suba pare ñëwaat ngoon.
I only come in the morning. When I come in the morning, because I was working. So when I come in the morning, then I have to drink. When I drink, I mean around 7:30. I used to stay up to 8:30. Then I drink the second one. Then I go home because I have to go to work.
Nu ma ko daan defee mooy si suba su ma ko naanee 7 dama dee toog foofu noonu ba 8 man naanaate bu ngoon bi after ma soog a ñibbi mun a dem liggéey.
And is that 8:30 in the evening?
8 juróom-ñetti waxtu genn wàll bi nga wax ni ngoon la wala suba bi.
No, it's in the morning.
Okay. Si suba si dama dee naan 7 ma naanaate 8 pour ma mun a dem liggéey.
Did you say that you drank it in the space of 1 hour?
Yes, 1 hour.
Wow. Ko dee naan benn waxtu bi yëpp laa dee naan ñaari kaas yi ko defee ma mun a dem liggéey.
Was it on all occasions that you would drink the medication at the Ndemban clinic on the site?
Ndax saa yu nekk nga daan dem naanee garab bi foofu ci Ndemban clinic ci boppam.
No, sometimes, I mean, they will give me, I bring a 5-liter gallon. They'll fill it for me. Then I take home. Then you find out that when the time comes, then I just drink it from there. I don't, because I cannot be coming and going all the time.
Mu ñenteel bi dañ ma joxoon 5 liters bidon pour ma yóbbu ko si kër gi comme time bi si jotee ma mun koo naan because mënuma dem bés bu nekk fii ba Ndemban bés bu nekk mënuma koo def.
So from the program being a program which patients were admitted, later on it was turned into an outpatient program, and yes. Now you're just telling us that there was also a takeaway service.
Yes.
Mu mel ni daal dañ ko commencé woon di jël nit ñi di leen tëral benn place di leen fa faj gannaaw gi ñuy wax nit ñi ñuy ñëw di naan si seen garab di ñëw ak a dem gannaaw gi sax ñu far nag di leen jox garab bi ngeen di dem a moom.
Yes. But I mean, you see, that one, if they told me that that's not allowed, but they just do it for me because I always complain that I cannot stay there, I'm working, so that's what they do. But they say that they don't normally allow that.
Loolu sax waxoon nañ ma ne man lañ ko defal because dañ dégg nu may jooytooy ne affaire bi dafa sori dem ak ñëw bi dafa métti loolu moo tax ñu defal ma loolu waaye duñ ko daan nangu.
So in those cases where you had the takeaway, then you would administer those drugs on your own by yourself.
Man gannaaw gi nga xamee ne danga daa indi bidong ñu solal la ci garab bi dafa mel ni daal gannaaw gi yaa ko daan naanal sa boppa.
Yes.
Waaw noonu la demee.
So tell us what the treatment was. What was this medication that you were given?
Garab biñ la daan jox lan la woon.
I mean, it looks like, I mean, a brown water is thick in. It's just thick. I mean, just like a concussion of any sort, you know.
Garab bi daal comme nu ma ko mën a explainer lu mu nuru mooy dafa mel ni am garab bi nit ku ñuul waaye ndox la ndox bu ñuul la. You
say it was sticky as well? Yeah, thick as, yes. I mean, sometimes it used to be
thick or sticky?
Yes, it's sticky. Like when it comes fresh, it used to be like normal. But when it's when there for some time, like 2 or 3 days, it becomes sticky.
Garab bi dal sunu neke garab bu es dafa dey halatani waye su yagge dafa dey melni lu ratax ni.
Yes.
Are you saying that the medication would basically go through a process of fermentation?
Yeah, fermentation, yes.
Wow, dafa dey dem be forox sa.
What was the taste and the smell like?
Yes.
Xet gi ak ciafka bi naka la daan mel bon su demee be forox.
Yes, when it reached into that stage, I mean, to drink it is become a problem because it's bitter as well as it smells and, you know, smell bad. So you find it very hard to drink.
Garab bi su demee be forox kay naanam dafa dey metti parce que dafa dey weex ba pare xet bi neexul so koy naan neexut garab dafa dey gën a naxar.
But I assume that you would still force yourself to drink it because you were hoping that this was the cure.
waaye yaakaar naa ne ak nu mun a mel noonu tamit dang daan forcer rek nga naan ko nit boobu yaa ngi séntu ne daf laa faj.
Yes.
Well, apart from this brown, thick liquid, was there any other medication you were given?
Yes, there's another one that looks like, should I get a sort of, it's just like they put milk there and that also they give it to us.
Wow, am na beneen tamit bu mel ni cuuraay gerte la sax soo ko xoolee da nga dee foog ne dañ si yokk meew boobu tamit dañu daan jox garab boobu noonu ñu naan.
We've heard evidence about another kind of medicine called Trrc. Do you know if this is the one that you're referring to as Trrc in your case?
am na ko ñu fi waxit ne garab yi ñu daan naan am bokk na ci bi ñoo ooyee Trrc ndax xëj na boobu nga wax ne moo dee nuroo cuuraay gerte.
Yes.
Waaw boobu la.
Were there any other kinds of medication apart from these two?
Gannaaw ñaar yi am na beneen garab bu ci bokk.
Yes, there might be another ones, but these are the two that I know.
Mun naa am beneen tamit mu fa de waaye man ñaar yi laa xam man.
And the Trrc one as well, was it administered in the same way as the brown liquid?
Bi di nuroo cuuraay gerte ndax ni nga ko daan naanee noonu nga daan naanee beneen bi nga xam ne bu ndoxe la.
Yes.
Waaw noonu laa ko naanee.
In what circumstances would you be given the brown liquid, and in what circumstances would you be given the Trrc?
Ci yan jamono lañ laa jox bu ndoxe bi ak ci yan jamono lañ laa jox bii di nuroo cuuraay gerte.
For me, I first begin the treatment with the brown one.
Man si bu ma door mooy bu brown bi bu ndoxe bi boobu laa dooroon.
When it goes for some time, they started giving me the other one.
waaye buñ demoon ba yàgga si lañ door pour jox ma bu caakiri bi bu cuuraay bi.
Yes.
And how long did you take these medications for?
Garab yi nag ci ban diir nga ko naan nga jeexal di ko naan ñaata weer wala ban àpp daal.
Yes, I take them within 3 months.
dama ko day mën a naan ñetti weer.
And what was the effect of the drugs as you had anticipated? Did it cure you? Did you see an improvement in your health?
Naka nga gisee woon garab bi nag dañ ci séntu woon amoon nga ci faj na la wala baaxoon na sa wér gu yaram.
No, I cannot. I don't feel any effect. From those drugs, from those concussions that I drink.
Man daal si man gisuma dara yëguma dara lu ma defaral de si garab boobu noonu.
And how long was the treatment supposed to last?
Te garab yooyu faju boobu yëpp ci kañ la waroon a jeex.
They said the treatment is supposed to last for 6 months.
ñu ne faj bi dafa war a dem ba juróom benn weer.
When did it in fact end?
Kañ la mujjee jeex nag.
Yes, because after that, we were told that we are going to stay. They are going to, gather us at one place. But that does not materialize. It was, in the ending, the concussion was not coming, and.
Just take it slowly in short statements so that the interpreters can follow. You can stop there and then after continue.
waxoon nañ sax ñu ne dañoo boole benn place taaju benn place waaye after loolu mujjewut a am sax. te mujjee bi sax garab bi balaa ñu am ko sax dafa dee xala yaaga.
It was not even coming. It was not coming. It was not coming.
mujjee bi sax nekkuñu woon di am garab bi sax.
So what eventually happened? Did it stop at some point?
Léegi lu mujjee xew nag far dañ toog amatu leen garab bi.
Yes, it stopped at some point.
waaw mujjee ni affaire bi dafa stoppoon amuñ garab bi.
And whilst you were taking this alternative treatment, were you also taking your conventional drugs, the ARVs?
Jamono ji nga xamee ne yaa ngi doon faju foofu ci garabi nit ku ñuul yooyu na président bi daan jox ndax yaa ngi continuer woon di jël sa yeneen garabi tubaab yi nga daan jël balaa loolu.
No, I was not taking them because they said when you are taking this traditional medicine, it does not mix with the conventional medicine, so I have to stop it.
No, garabi tubaab moom dama ko tegoon boor parce que lu ñu wax mooy sooy naan garab nit ku ñuul doo ko mën a boole ak garab lopitaan so loolu moo tax ma tegee ko boor ma continuer di naan garab nit ku ñuul.
And can you tell us what difference there was between you taking your ARVs before you joined the program and after you joined the program and you started taking the alternative treatment?
léegi léegi ñu mun a wax nag ban uute nga seetlu ci jamono ji nga xamee ne balaa nga doon door faju boobu yaa ngi doon naan garab yi ARV bi ak gannaaw bi nga ko bàyyee ba jël yeneen garab yi yan uute nga gis.
Yes, I was before joining this presidential treatment program. I was healthy. I can do anything that I want to do. But after when I stopped taking the ARV and started drinking this, that's the time all my problems starts, because I started having problems,
dëgg la man bu balaa may door faji président bi dama doon bu ma doon jël garab bi si lopitaan bi fekk dama wéeroon mun naa def lu nekk maa ngi xel ci yoon ba bëgg a dee waaye bu ma dooree di jël garab bi si président bi si la suma wér bu yaram bi daal door di ma jox ay jafe-jafe.
And what problems did you encounter?
yan jafe-jafe nga daan jànkuwanteel.
I developed, ulcer, and I never know about ulcer. I never know about ulcer,
amoon naa ulcer te musuma woon a am ulcer sax musuma xam ne sax am naa ulcer.
And diarrhea.
biir bu daw.
Yes, and my, I used to be, how to call it, anemia all the time. I used to complain of my blood used to go down. So.
ba pare dama daan complain lu bëri sax ñi suma deret bi dafa dee overla wàcca.
Yes.
What was the cause of these health problems that you had?
Yes.
lan mooy woon sabab bi taxoon ba nga amoon jafe-jafe yi sa wàllu wér gu yaram.
Yes, because before taking this traditional medicine, I never experienced such. I never have, ulcer. I never have ulcer. My blood, I never have anemia. You see, and so many other sickness that I have seen in myself. I never have those things.
Because balaa man may door jël garab bi si nit ku ñuul nii si président bi musuma expérience dama day am naa feebar yi nii comme anemia diabetes yooyu noonu ulcer kay sori musuma koo yëg suma yaram bi time boobu maa ngi overall healthy.
So are you saying that the presidential alternative treatment was responsible for these health complications that you had developed?
kon da nga bëgg a wax ne faju bi nga daan faju ci président bi la moo waral jafe-jafe yooyu nga mujj am ci sa wér gu yaram.
Yes. Because when I was taking it at the end, even to swallow something, it used to give me problem. In fact, that's what prompted me that I have to go back because I have to eat, because I cannot eat. When I want to eat anything, it cannot pass through my throat.
loolu moo taxoon sax parce que bu ma doon naan garab bi sax dama amoon problème pour may wana dara sax mënuma ko woon loolu moo taxoon ma ne xaaral ma dem si lopitaan bi dem cekki suma problème suma boppa.
And what was responsible for your difficulty in swallowing food?
lan moo taxoon ngay daan am jafe-jafe pour wana lekka.
Yes, because of the concussion I was taking. That's what because I never experienced such when I was taking before I come there. I never experienced that. That was not happen to me.
parce que garab bu ma daan jël loolu moo taxoon parce que balaa ma fay dem loolu musuma dal garab bi xam naa loolu moo taxoon man du ma dee mun a lekka du ma dee mun a wana dara.
And the concoction, did it do anything to your mouth or the area around your mouth that caused you not to be able to swallow?
garab bi dafa am dara lu mu def sa gémmiñ gi ak yooyu ba tax mënuloo woon a wana benn ñam.
waaw.
Yes, because I used to suffer from something called, the doctors, they call it a fungal infection. My tongue, when that happens to me, I don't have appetite. I cannot eat any food.
dama daan am problème comme lu anglais de wax fungal infection docteur yi loolu lañ gis suma laamin bi loolu moo dee tax du ma dee mun a wana dara.
You're saying that there were substances in this alternative treatment that basically caused a fungal infection in your mouth.
Yes.
bon dafa mel ni am na lu nekk ci garab boobu ngeen doon jëfoo boo xam ne moo waraloon loolu nga xam ne moo la joxoon feebar sa làmmiñ.
waaw loolu la.
Because before going there, I don't have that. I don't used to
parce que
experience
balaa
that.
may dem di jël garab bi si président bi moom musuma expérience loolu noonu.
And did the treatment cure you of AIDS?
Never. It never cured me of AIDS.
feebar bi garab bi musuma faj.
And it made you unhealthier?
Yeah, it made me unhealthier.
waaw ñu yokka suma problème bi.
What happened after your treatment stopped, after you had been told that there was no more medication? Can you tell us what happened thereafter?
biñ la waxee nag ne fi mu nekk nii amatuñ yenn garab yuñ leen a jox ndax mun nga ñoo wax lan a xew gannaaw boobu.
Yes, when they told me there's no medicine and I'm getting sick every day, I mean, when I go there, I ask for help. I cannot have any help, so I told them now, okay, because if people you don't have any medication, you cannot do anything for
waaye
me.
buñ ñu waxoon ne garab bi jeex na léegi man ma door nag di feebar bis bu nekk dama dee feebar léegi su ma demee foofu noonu pour complainer man pour ñu jox ma garab. Continue.
Yes, they say, I mean, the medication is finished, and the president is not in the right place. So I tell me every time when I go there, they tell me that, you know, the big man is not in his right place.
waaye luñ ma dee tontu ñu ne fu mu nekk nii garab bi amatu te président bi léegi fu mu nekk nii nekkut.
In his right place.
waaw loolu lañ ma dee tontu.
Do you know what that meant, that the president was not in his right place?
loolu lu mu daan tekki buñ la waxee ne président bi nekkul fi nga xam ne fa la wala nekk.
Yes, I never asked them about, I mean, what that means, because by then, if I want to ask that, maybe I might have, I mean, something that I would not like. So when they tell me that...
loolu musuma na lan laaj lan loolu lan la tekki président bi nekkul si palaasam parce que dama ragaloon xëy nga su ma leen laajee ma jëlee fa loo xam ne daal du ma ne moo tax musuma ne la laaj.
Why do you say that? I mean, what did you suspect was the reason he was not in his right place?
Lu da nga wax loolu yow na biñ la ko waxee yow nit ñi sa foogaay boppa lan nga foogoon ne seen wax boobu lu moom la tekki.
Okay, at first I cannot understand, but later I think I understand that that was not very far with the 2000 and that was it was like something, it might be something political because it was not very far from the 2016 election. I mean, by then they were, I mean, doing things towards the election, preparing for the election and so many other things. That's why, you know, he was unable to continue with the, I mean, the treatment.
Man laajuma leen loolu lan la tekki waaye man suma gis-gis xam naa affaire yi politique bi tamit jot na pour loolu président bi mu ngi bisi foofu noonu pour toppatoo affaire yi élection bi loolu moo tax léegi ne fajatut kenn man noonu laa ko gisee.
So at that time, his priority really was not to make any form of medicine. His real priority was his political career.
Yes.
Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Non la ko gisee man.
So did they do anything for you during these times that you had gone there and you were sick?
Jamono bi nga fa doon dem noonu am na dara luñ la daan defal na comme que yaa ngi faa dem te yaa ngi feebar.
Yes, at one time, I mean, they took me, they give me drip like water because by then they said I was dehydrated. So I was very weak by then. They give me a bed and put me some drip on my body.
Wow, watu bobu nonu after si lañ ñew ñu ne xamna dama sona torop ñu ne légui dañ ma yokal ndox si lañ ma jox lal ñu door dama yokal ndox nak.
So they had nothing else to give you but put you on drips?
Yes, that's the only thing they do to me. And some tablets that they told me to drink so that, I mean, maybe, because he told me that also I have anemia, my blood level is down, so I have to take those tablets for them to help me.
Wow, joxon nañ ma ay garab tamit yu ma warona nan parce que ñu ne dama am anemia, so il faut ma nan garab yu no pour ma mëna jappalé suma bopa.
So when the miraculous drug had finished, they had to resort back to conventional medicine.
Mo ngi melni bon ba garabi kéemtaan bobu passé dal ngeen delu wat ci garabi tubab bi.
Yes.
Wow, non la démé.
So what eventually happened to you?
Gannaaw gi nak lula dal?
Yes, eventually then I found out that, I mean, these people, they have nothing to help me, so I have to go back to the conventional medicine. So I told them that I decided to go back to, I mean, conventional hospital. I want to go back to the hospital to check my health.
Si mujjentel bi man si la gis ne deug ñi amuñu garab buñ may faj. Non la lay wax ne man fu mu nekk ni man dama wara bayyi ma delu ci l'hôpital bi fu ma doron di faj suma bopa pour ma mëna am suma wër bu yaram.
And how did they react to this news?
Bang leen waxé lool nak ñom naka lañ ko gisé?
Yes, I mean, when I speak to Lamin Jata and he called Auntie Nima and explained it to her,
loolu Lamin Jatta laa ko waxoon moom Lamin Jatta si la woo anti ñima mu expliqué na ko.
Yes.
And how did they react? What did they tell you when you told them that you wanted to go back to your conventional medicine since they were not helping you?
Yes.
ñam lan lañ la tontu nag bi nga leen waxee ne daal da nga bëgg a delluwaat ca faju ba nga daan faju ndaxte ñoom seen faj bi daal dimbalewu la.
Yes, so, I mean, they told me that, okay, we can allow you to go, but, I mean, then I told them that I have to go to where I come from, hands-on care. They told me, I mean, I'm telling them, no, don't go there, because when you go there, they will not accept you.
Man si laa lay wax ne man fu mu nekk nii damay dellu ñu ne ma ok mun ngaa dem waaye man continue di wax leen ne damay dellu hands on care si la ma Lamin Jatta ne bu dellu foofu noonu because soo demee foofu noonu gars yi duñ la jël dañu lay daaxa.
So despite the fact that they couldn't treat you, they tried to discourage you from leaving?
Yes, yes.
So what did you eventually do?
So he told me that now we have to go to Serekunda General Hospital because there is a place there.
Da nga wara dem Serekunda Hospital amna place bu fa nekka.
A place where they used to give antiretroviral virus.
Place bo xamne fofu dañ dé joxe antiretroviral.
They used to treat HIV/AIDS there.
Fofu dañ dé faj HIV virus fofu nonu. Serekunda Hospital.
What happened when you got there?
Bang fa demee nag lana xew.
Yes, when I go there, they just take my blood and check, whether I have the sickness in my body. Then after when they confirm it, then they put me on ARV.
ñoom bu ma demee foofu noonu si leen jël suma deret bi pour seet ndax feebar bi am naa ko buñ seetee suma deret bi si leen gis ne am naa feebar bi si leen ma door di jox ARV.
And Serekunda Hospital was initially where this whole presidential treatment program had started.
Te ci lopitaani Serekunda bi fa la faji président bi commencé woon.
Yes, but by then they no longer do it there. It was changed into a conventional hospital. That's why they used to do so many other treatments there, like as it is now.
Wow, time boobu noonu buñ léegi fekk ab ñoom bàyyi neen di faj nit ñi foofu di teg nit ñi foofu noonu pour faj leen feebar HIV léegi dafa mel ni comme lopitaan bi nu mu mel nii noonu la meloon man bu ma demee pour jëlaat suma garab bu lopitaan bi.
So they had progressed from the alternative treatment to conventional drugs.
Yes, they have changed it to conventional drugs.
Wow, léegi dafa mel ni daal bàyyi neen garab nit ku ñuul ñu delluwaat ci garab.
Yes.
noonu la meloon waa.
So how did you feel after you were referred to Serekunda and you started taking the ARVs?
léegi nag loo yëg biñ la toxalee yóbbu la lopitaan Serekunda nga di fa jël ARV.
Yes, because what happened there is like they don't know my medical history because they never know that I have been taking it before and they never learned that also I have to stop it and go to the presidential treatment. Then they don't know that as well. They just take me as normal like any other patient just coming first.
Lu xewoon mooy man bu ma delluwaatee si lopitaan Serekunda hospital gars yi xamuñu woon ne man dama musoon a dem foofu noonu pour ñu gis ne man dama am feebar bi bañ ma door di jël garab bi ba ma bàyyi garab bi dem jël garab nit ku ñëw si président bi ñoom man bu ma fa ñëwee dañ ma jël rek mel ni nit ku ees kuñ door di gëstu mbir feebar bi.
So what was the effect of that?
léegi nag loolu naka la mujjee.
Yes, okay. I mean, that one, before I go into the presidential treatment program, I used to take 2 tablets a day. But when I come back there at first, I found out that they changed. Now they only give 1. So that one, you have to drink it at night, only 1 time. So
affaire bi lu xew mooy man bala may dem si presidential treatment bi ñaari garab lañ ma daan jox foofu noonu waaye bu ma delluwee dem si lopitaan bi ma ñëw fekk ne benn garab lañ ma dee jox te garab boobu noonu guddi laa ko waroon a naan.
So now, I mean, anyway, I feel better for the first time, but later, I mean, I learned that also I'm not quite okay. So my health is, deteriorating. So
waaye loolu tamit sax tane woon naa sax comme tuuri tane rek waaye after si laa gis ne sama wér bu yaram ba léegi non léewut wéruma daal.
Did you take any other steps?
am na yeneen jéego yoo ci jël nag.
Yes, I have to take another steps because normally when they say when you start taking the drugs, when you stop it, when you come back again, sometimes it resists, it stops, it cannot. I mean, it did not take effect on the sickness.
Come again? I'm sorry.
I said.
mu ne dafa nekk ne su fekkee ne garab gi da nga commencé di ko jël nga jékkee-jékki bàyyi ko soo ci delluwaatee nim la war a fajee du la mun a fajee noonu.
Very good. So now, I mean, when that happened, I mean, but for them, they also were unable to realize that. The doctors there at Serekunda Hospital, they don't realize that.
waaw loolu moo amoon waaye ñoom docteur yi ñu fa nekkoon at Serekunda Hospital ñoom xamuñu woon ne loolu moo am.
So now I have to live there and go back to hands-on care.
loolu moo tax ma mujjee bàyyi foofu noonu dellu hands-on care.
And hands-on care is where you were before you started the presidential treatment program. That is where they had referred you to from MRC.
Yes.
Hands-on care mooy fa nga nekkoon di faju balaa ngaa dem ci faji président bi mu mel ni waa MRC foofa lañ la ebaloo.
Yes.
Wow.
And what happened when you went there this time?
léegi nag bii yoon ba nga demee lan a xew.
So when I went there, I mean, the doctors, they realized that I was very, very sick. I mean, so now.
bu ma demee foofu noonu docteur yi ñu fa nekk si hand on care si lañ gis ne man dama feebar bu baax sax.
And even themselves, they were scared. I can see that in them, they were scared.
feebaroon naa ba ñoom seen boppa sax ragaloon sax man suma boppa dina yëg naa ne ñoom sax dañ ragaloon.
Why were they scared?
lu tax ñu ragaloon.
Yeah, they were scared because they said that my CD4 have come up to 7.
dañ ragaloon parce que ñoom seen boppa lu ñu ma waxoon ñu ne suma CD4 bi wàccoon na ba 7.
What does that signify?
loolu lan la tekki.
It means I was very, very sick.
loolu moo tekki ne man dama feebar bu baax sax.
Please go ahead.
eggalal.
So now, I mean, what they did was they said, I mean, because, okay, now that, I mean, it was like the medication that I was taking from, it was not, I mean, suppressing, controlling the sickness.
Comme daal luñ ma woon mooy garab bu ma nekkoon di jël nekkutoon di métti di sonal feebar bi si suma yaram bi pour daal xatal feebar bi nekk suma yaram bi.
That is the medication you got from Kanifing, Serekunda Hospital.
Yes.
loolu la.
Yes, it was resisting it.
dafa mel ni daf ko doon may doole daal.
Yes, it was resisting. It was not taking effect on me.
nekkutoon di defar dara suma yaram.
Yes.
The word was resisting. It was resisting it, not that it was giving it more power, as you say.
No, it was resisting. The sickness was resisting the medicine.
Wow. feebar bi daal
Trying to correct.
feebar bi daal mu dafa amoon doole trop suma yaram bi.
Yes.
So what happened at hands-on care? What did they do?
lan moo xew hands-on care luñ doon def.
Yes, Dr. Sabale, you know, as what they told me at MRC, he know this sickness very well. So he told me that alkali, I mean, sorry.
waaw comme docteur Sabali comme lu ñu waxoon si man li ñu waxoon si moom at MRC ne nit koo xam ne nit ku xam feebar bi la nit ku mun a faj la.
He told me, I mean, you have to change your drugs because the drugs that you are taking is not making you any.
mu ne ma fu mu nekk nii sa garab bu nga doon jël il faut ma sensé ko. because garab bu nga nekkoon di jël nii balaa nga ñëwaat fii nii nekkutoon di la jàppale.
Yes, that's what helps me.
loolu moo ma jàppale woon.
So what kind of treatment were you then put on?
léegi nag ban façon yi faj lañ la daan faj ban garab lañ la daan jox.
I mean, he changed it like in the morning I used to take 3 tablets, in the evening I take 3 tablets.
léegi dafa mel ni dafa yokk affaire bi si suba dama dee naan ñetti garab ci ngoon man naan ñetti garab.
And what happened after you started to take those drugs and you changed your treatment?
gannaaw bi nga wéccee nag garab yi nga doon naan lan moo xew.
Yes, now, I mean, thank God I'm feeling better. I mean, I
léegi fu mu
can.
nekk nii moom alhamdulilah maa ngi tane bu baax.
Yes. I can do everything. I can work. I can do anything.
def lu nekk dama dee mën a dem liggéey dama dee mën a def lu nekk.
Yes.
The alternative treatment that you went through, the presidential treatment, does it still have an effect on you, despite the fact that you are feeling better and you have changed the treatment?
faj bi nga xam ne moom nga doon faju ca faji président bi ndax ba tey am na loo xam ne mu ngi ko def ci sa yaram bi dëgg la bàyyi woon nga ko ba commencé waat yeneen garab ba loolu di la dimbali ci sa wérgu yaram waaye faju booba nga doon faju ndax amul benn loraange bu mu def ci yow.
Yes, of course, still, because the fungal infection is still coming out, and okay, for the ulcer one, that one, I mean, it does not, it's inactive for the moment. It does not attack me, but for the fungal infection, I always, it comes, and when it comes, I have to take a medication for it so that it can stop.
dëgg la loolu ba tey mu may sonal comme lu mel ni fungal infection bi léegi mu may sonal li su ñëwee dama dee mën a jël beneen garab su ko defee ma mun koo contrôle waaye ba tey daal affaire bi daal mu may sonal.
So some of these problems are reoccurring, and therefore the treatment has had some permanent damage on your health system.
Bon li feebar yi la lor nii li moo dem di ñëwaat dafa mel ni faju ba nga faju woon foofa ca président ba benn tey am na ay loraange yoo xam ne mu ngi ko def ci sa yaram bi.
Yes.
Wow. Apart from the health impact, what other impacts did this treatment program have on your life?
gannaaw jafe-jafe yi nga xam ne yaa ngi ko am ci sa wàllu wérgu yaram bi faju booba nga faju woon ca président ba nag lan la la jural yow ci sa yaram ci sa dunda.
Yes, it made me lose my job because when I feel sick, I was unable to job. My boss have to tell me to stop working because I'm sick. I cannot work.
loolu taxoon na ba ma ñàkk suma liggéey bi parce que bu ma feebaroon feebar bu métti boobu noonu suma boss dafa demoon ba mu ne ma léegi da nga war a toog si kër gi da nga war a bàyyi nga toog si kër gi.
And this was as a result of the alternative treatment that you were taking?
Yes.
te loolu yëpp li ko waraloon mooy garab boobu faju boobu nga xam ne yaa ngi ko doon faju fële ca président bi.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
When you had first been diagnosed with AIDS and you were taking your ARVs, you were still able to work normally?
biñ la njëkkee wax ne da nga am jàngoro AIDS bii nii ba pare yaa ngi doon jël garab bi ARV terewul yaa ngi doon liggéey.
Yes. Yes.
loolu dëgg la dama doon liggéey.
And just to conclude, if you can tell us what other impact this whole treatment has had on your life?
pour jeexal rek su fekkee ne mun nga ñoo wax faju boobu yan façon ngi jafe-jafe la la indil ci sa dunda.
Well, I mean, because it made me to have ulcer, which I don't have it before.
garab bi indi na ma jafe-jafe ulcer parce que amoon faj ulcer time boobu noonu.
I mean, it really disturbed my life. It really disturbed me. It made me lose my job.
tax na tamit ba ma ñàkk suma liggéey bi tamit.
Yes.
Thank you very much, Mr. Witness. Mr. Chairman, I hand over the witness to you for any questions you may ask.
jërëjëf seede bi léegi ma jébal la chairman bi bu dee ñoom tam am nañ luñ la laaj.
Thank you very much, Council, and thank you very much, Witness, for coming to testify before the Commission.
jërëjëf council jërëjëf seede bi yow tamit li nga ñëw pour joxe sa seede fii ci kanam council bi.
To you again, we would express our sorrow that you had to be taken through a treatment program that was fraud, fake, and criminal.
yow tamit nag ñu ngi métitlu ci li nga xam ne moom nga jaar ci mbiri ay tappaleeg ay mbiri jubadi yoo xam ne jaarale nañ ko ci faj goo xam ne ñu ngi la ko doon fajeetu dégguwul.
Hope Gambia doesn't have to go through this kind of experience again.
te yaakaar naa ne nag réewi Gambia fii façon bi dootu fi mun a amati mukk.
Commissioners, if you have any questions, please indicate.
Commissioner, you
have the floor, please.
Witness,
yes.
I have one question for you. If you had the opportunity to meet ex-President Yaya Jammeh again in your life,
what
would you tell him?
What I would tell him is that you are lying to people. What you say is never true. You are just trying to kill people.
lu ma koy wax mooy suñ dajee dama koy ne yow da nga doon fenal nit ñi rek yow li nga waxoon ne da nga mun a faj AIDS loolu du dëgga yow da nga bëggoon a rey sa nit ñi rek.
Thank you very much. There are no further questions. If you have any final remarks to make, witness, please proceed to do so now.
Okay. Yes, I want to thank the whole TRC from the executive, secretary, from the CEO to the last man, because
maa ngi jërëm mbootaay TRC bi jëlee ko depuis si chairman bi ba ku nekk koo xam ne mu ngi liggéey si TRC bi fii.
Yes, because since I started coming here, I started feeling that I started feeling that I'm a person, because when I come here, I was treated like a person.
Man depuis bu ma dooroo di ñëw fii nii lu ma gisal man suma boppa ne gars yi dañ ma doon toppatoo ba ma yëg ko suma yaram ne man dañ ma toppatoo ba ma gis ne man nit laa dañ ma toppatoo bu baax fii nii.
Yes, so for that in the case, I cannot thank you enough.
Loolu moo tax du ma leen mun a jërëm rek pour jërëm leen du doy.
Yes, but the only thing that I'm having now, I need support.
waaye lu ma leen bëgg a ñaan mooy fu mu nekk nii dama bëgg a dimbal.
Yes, because now I think accommodation is a problem.
fu mu nekk nii sax dëkkoo ak ay sax awma ko.
Yes, because I'm not working. I'm just sitting at one place.
nekk nii nekkuma di liggéey te maa ngi toog benn place.
Yes, so I'm just appealing to the TRC people and everybody who is listening to this thing that for them to give me a helping hand.
fu mu nekk nii maa ngi ñaan TRC bi ak ku nekk ku ma mën a jàppale parce que fu mu nekk nii awma liggéey awma fu may dëkk.
Yes, that's what all I have for you.
lii laa am pour wax leen lii laa am pour ñaan leen.
Thank you very much indeed. Again, witness for your testimony and for the suggestions and requests that you have made. We'll take those into account as we proceed with the finalization of our report at the end of our mandate.
jërëjëf seede bi ci sa kàddu yi ak sa xalaat yi ak sàkku yi nga sàkku yëpp dinañ ko bàyyi xel bu baax nag ci tëralin yi nga xam ne moom la ñu tëral mu bokk ci li nga xam ne mooy sas biñ gàccoo.
This brings us to the end of the proceedings today. I thank you all, commissioners, secretariat, staff, interpreters, everybody. It's been a very long day, notwithstanding the technical difficulties we had at the beginning, but all is well that ends well. We were able to do the 3 witnesses that we had planned for. Thank you all very much indeed for your contributions. The meeting is adjourned. Tomorrow morning we meet again at 10 o'clock sharp. Thank you. Meeting is adjourned.